How's it going? It's Jamie here from the Business Brain Dump podcast. Yep, we've actually got a name for the podcast now. As you can see, we're kind of working on things behind the scenes. We're refining things. We're putting more content out. I've just been editing the latest episode and cut out quite a bit. The initial recording was about an hour. We've cut it down to 30 minutes. If you want to get into the topic of working on your business rather than in it, we get onto that at about 14 minutes in. Prior to that, lots of fun stories. Andrea's holiday to Mexico, her broken foot, sleep stories. We talk about me moving house and all the craziness that goes on around that. And then at about 8 minutes in, we also hear about Andrea's time in Coachella, which is pretty interesting. So, yeah, hope you enjoy the podcast and all the things that we're improving. We're back again.
We are. This is our third trial of different software. This app is called Riverside, I think.
Yeah. We're
Okay.
giving it a try. Different setup to the previous two, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll keep trying until we get the easiest, best one. So, Andrea Coughtry, and I'm with Coughtry Enterprises. I have a local real estate team where we buy, sell everything residential, commercial. We also offer turnkey solutions for investors. So that's me.
There we go. I'm Jamie McAnally. I'm the founder and CEO of AutoEnhance.ai. We automate real estate photo editing to make your images look as good as possible. So, yeah, I guess since the last time we caught up, you've been away to Mexico, you've been to
Coachella.
Coachella,
Coachella.
yeah, and you've broken your foot.
Yes, I fractured my foot. So I've been
How
in
did
a
you break your foot?
honestly, it was a stress fracture, okay? I hit my foot at the pool. There was some champagne and margaritas involved, but I had no pain. I didn't have pain for like 4 days later. So it makes no sense how it happened, honestly. It's just compounding over time, is what the doctor said. But I go back today. So today I'm really excited. Super rainy day in Kentucky, but I don't care because I'm hopefully getting that boot off today.
Oh, wow. How long have you had it on now? It's like 4 weeks or something, right?
This is like today is right at a month. I had it on exactly for a month. And I told myself two
Yeah.
weeks. And then after 2 weeks, I was like kind of nervous. I'm like, it's not worth risking it. So I wore it to Coachella. And now I'm like, I feel like it's there. Like I'm starting to feel like, okay, wearing it much longer, it's just like my ankles are getting weaker. I really am ready to have the boot off.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. It's so restrictive. All the driving you got to do for work. Have you been chauffeured everywhere?
Well, the good thing is like it's my left foot, so I can
Right.
drive with my right foot fine.
Yeah.
But
We all
still,
drive automatics out there. So
everything is just for me, it's a lot easier than like for you to be in a boot in London would be a nightmare because in Kentucky, we drive everywhere. You drive right up to the door. The only thing is when it's wet, like today, this thing is so dangerous. I've almost slipped so many times. So for you having to like walk around the city, you would probably have fallen and like broken a hip or something crazy because I've almost slipped several times, like walking in and out of places. But yeah, it's made my okay. And this is funny because I was gonna say, do you care if I like sidebar in the beginning? And this is leading right into it. So this is so perfect. Thanks for teeing this up. I have a problem right now, and you're not gonna believe this. I am like in my sleeping era right now, and you know that's not normally me. Like
you're
when
4 hours of
when you were
sleep.
over, I'm up
What?
before everybody.
Yeah. So what does it mean?
This
A
is my
sleeping
sleeping
era?
because like everybody has their like hot girl summer, their sleeping area era, their boss era, like you know, people redefine themselves era. I think it was a Taylor Swift thing that started it. But I'm in the sleeping era, and I think it's all about the boot because I have said forever a body in motion stays in motion, a body at rest stays at rest. Well, I get this boot on. I was so depressed that first weekend. I'm just like, I couldn't figure the boot out. Like, it was still in pain. I was having to ice it every day. I was trying, like, to eat all this fish and all this, like, stuff that I read would help. And, like, I'm on the couch. When I come home, I sit on the couch. And even if I want to do stuff, it's just bulky, it's hard, and then I want to take it off, and I'm like, no, you can't take it off. So like I've been sitting more than ever. And the more I'm sitting, like the more I like to sit. And now I'm a very restful Andrea. Like I cannot get out of bed in the mornings. The mornings I'm just like snuggled up. And I'm like, I had my alarm set. I was gonna wake up, work out, do all this stuff. And I'm like, my body probably needs more sleep because of my foot. I'm like so sleepy era.
You don't think it's the painkillers? They're just knocking you
I don't
out.
even, no, I don't have any medication. And
Oh, wow.
I can't even take like Advil because it's a form of steroid which can like slow down the natural healing process. So
Yeah.
no, there's no reason other than my mindset now is like I need to be sitting. Like
Wow, you're at a Zen state then. You've taken on a new leaf. You're just a new version. Yeah, I mean, this really weird coincidence because I have never had the best sleep until I've moved house, which just happened since we last spoke as well. Um,
yeah.
maybe it's just something
So
in the air then. I've been,
you bought
what's
a
that?
flat, moved in.
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
even more than that, right? I bought a flat with my girlfriend and we renovated the whole thing. We went from uh thinking of just doing a new kitchen to a new kitchen, new floors, completely doing the living room, the bedroom. Obviously, I didn't do any of the work. All of that was done in 3 weeks. I've never seen a team of people do
That's
all this
crazy.
work and work so hard every day. They were in at the weekend. They were staying till like 8 p.m. on a
Wow.
weekday. They were relentless in getting this flat sorted for us, and they finished the day before we moved in. So yeah, we've definitely pampered ourselves. Like we've been in rental for well since we've been together, right? So living in Melbourne, moving over to the UK, always been in rental, and then lucky enough to buy somewhere now. Um, and yeah, the bedroom is amazing. We splashed out on getting a nice bed, a nice mattress, and I'm sleeping so well. I don't know if it's the temperature. I don't know if it's because I'm just so exhausted that I'm sleeping, but it's
Probably.
I feel amazing. Like even this morning, I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning, and I woke up at 6 a.m. this morning after, and that's like an 8 hour sleep, no problem. And after half an hour, I managed to drop off asleep again, and I woke up thinking it must be 6:30 now, and it was nearly 8 a.m. in the morning. I slept for nearly another 2 hours. So maybe there's something just in the air, right? Maybe we're just feeling zen.
It must be. That's so funny that that's such a coincidence. Well, I'm obsessed with my bed too, and it's like so cozy, and I just don't want to leave it. It's like
Yeah.
snuggle.
Yeah, we definitely cheaped out on the previous one. Like when we first got our flat in London, and London is crazy. The rental market's crazy. Even back
Mm.
then, when we moved in 2020, we managed to get a steal because of COVID, but we cheaped out on everything else. Like we bought a bed for 100 quid, so what's that like $130? A mattress for $130.
Oh, that's why you
Um,
were sleeping bad. Yeah.
yeah. And it was like a memory foam one. It was great for like the first couple of months. And then eventually we started to realize that my side of the bed was significantly lower than Sarah's side of the bed. So we were like, okay, this is not ideal. But we put up with it for 3 years. So I guess trying to keep it cheap. I think that was the main thing for us.
Well, I
But
guess if
yeah,
we are able to focus on our topic for today, then we can have more sleep time and it'll be okay, right?
exactly.
If
Exactly.
we
It's
learn to
ideal.
work on it and not in it.
Exactly.
Well, so we had a
That's
topic.
good.
We did.
Well,
We really did.
hang on. Before we go into the topic, I want to know about Coachella quickly. How was Coachella? Sorry, I'm sidetracking this, but I bet people are fascinated by Coachella. In the UK, everyone loves
Yeah.
Coachella, but obviously we've got our
Yeah.
Glastonbury and everything here. So not many
Yeah.
British people go to Coachella unless they're singers, right? It's all full of
Yeah.
British singers. So how was Coachella?
Amazing. It was so fun. Coachella's its own city. Like it was crazy. And unlike many music festivals, like I had the best matcha of my life. Like first thing when Leighton and I would get there, he was like, "Are you
Bloody
going for
love
your
a
matcha?" I'm like,
matcha.
"Yes." Yes, you know I love a matcha. And so it was so good. The matchas there were so good. The food was so healthy. I've even like
Mm.
recreated some of the salads here that I had there. The food was amazing. Here's one thing to like, this is like a very big warning flag. If you are taking your kids to Coachella, some of the venues are 21 and plus. They don't advertise that. I did not see that anywhere. So that was kind of a shock because there were several, like the Heineken House had artists that we wanted to see, but you had to be 21 and older to get in. And I didn't know that. And so one of Layton's favorite artists, Darcy, was in the Heineken House, you know? So it was like, I wish they had advertised that because here we've spent, we've traveled to Palm Springs, we bought the whole VIP experience.
Yeah.
And also, they don't advertise that there is a tier above VIP that you can't buy through Coachella. It's basically like the artist and members pass. And I now have a plug to get better seats. So if you do decide to come, we are upgrading these bad boys because something else I didn't realize about Coachella is this like, okay, this is the stage, right? Like you've got the stage here. And normally, like at a music festival, you could go stand right up at the gate at the stage. If you wait in line long enough, you could be right at the stage. Like at Gov Ball in New York,
Yeah.
you can walk right up to the barricade at the stage. At Coachella, you can't. It's the stage, a whole second barricade for that fancy access, and then the regular
Mm.
section. Even though you have VIP, you can't get in this whole barrier between the gate,
Yeah.
and the
So you were
dressing
slogging it
area.
with the chumps. You weren't with the top dogs.
No, I was like, I want to be
That's
closer
pretty
to the
crazy.
stage. Yeah. And we went everywhere
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. And crazily enough, we did this thing called Outstanding in the Field, which is phenomenal. They do it at a lot of different events. And it was this beautiful, coursed, everything's local meal. It was such a great like reprieve from, the madness of being at Coachella. And it was just a really beautiful thing.
Oh.
But I met a girl there and got some insider tips that I'm not giving away. So I'll tell you later offline. But so now I know how we can get that extra little access. But
Damn.
yeah,
Wow.
it
No, it
was
looks
amazing.
amazing on your
The
Instagram. Like
food,
there's like hot air balloons or something it
yeah,
looked like. Um, I saw on Instagram, I follow like a few people that were playing at Coachella, and I was like, oh, actually, this is pretty
yeah.
good. I'm not a huge fan of festivals. I've never been to one. And concerts, I
You
just
have
don't
to.
get it either. I went to Elton John's concert, and I love Elton John. And this is like meant to be his final concert, which is he's been saying that for years that this is his final
Every concert.
round.
Yeah,
And even that, like me and this other person, there was four of us that went. We could see the stage because we were tall enough to look over everyone. And then Sarah and her friend, like they were just looking at the back of someone's top. They couldn't see him at all. And I'm like, oh my god, he's on the piano.
yeah,
The piano's moving. This is amazing. Um, but the whole time, like we waited 2 hours for him to come out. We were crammed in there for an hour watching him play, and then it took like another hour to get out, and I was like, it's good, but it's not that good. So maybe Coachella's
yeah.
different. Maybe Coachella will change my mind. So I'm
Coachella is because you
gonna
come
give it a
and go when you want. You come and go when you want. Like I like a festival way better than a concert. Not everybody's coming and going at different times. Not everybody's seeing the same artist. Like we saw one artist and there wasn't many people there at all. We got a photo with them, but then you'll
yeah,
go to other ones where we'll just sit back on the hill and watch the show, on the big screens and far away from the stage, eating a snack. Like it's
yeah,
outdoors, there's room to breathe, room to move. And as long as you leave before the end of the final act, and at that point, like you've seen 15 artists, like over the course of 2, 3 days, like it's not a big deal to watch two songs of Lana Del Rey and leave before the crowds. So I like festivals better because same thing. We saw Beyonce in Nashville, and it was like so hot. She's like really late coming on stage, like to the point to where I was like, guys, it's hot. If she doesn't come out soon, I'm leaving. Like
yeah, yeah.
stampede coming in, stampede going out, you know. So I agree
Okay,
with you. Conflict,
maybe once I go to a festival, we'll talk about it on here and we'll see if I
yeah.
change my mind.
Okay, we've
Like,
got 10 minutes
oh
to give
shit.
the people.
Okay.
Yes. All I know, time
Okay.
flies. I can't, it's been 48 minutes. Like, that's crazy.
Right, well, this is going to be the best 10 minutes. We're going to smash it out.
That's
But yeah, I
the
guess what this is all about is I think we've both experienced this. We are heavily involved inside of our businesses. I think we're kind of a crucial cog in making sure things keep moving. But it's really hard to have that separation from doing the work to making sure that you're putting all the processes in place and the right people in place so your business is working without you. And I I was just mentally blocked on this forever. And even when we met up in person back in November, you recommended this book when we were at Ramsey's, which is this amazing diner in Kentucky called
yeah.
The E Myth.
Yep.
Um, yeah, maybe you wanna. How did you come across this book?
So, Brendan's always reading some kind of something, and he was really big into entrepreneurial endeavors for a while, and so he kept reading these types of books,
Okay.
like Atomic Habits, E-Myth. There's a bunch of them, and E-Myth. He was like, excuse me. Whenever I started reading, some more kind of books tailored towards business and not just for fun, because I love a fun book. He was like, you have to read E-Myth. And this is as I was just starting to grow my real estate business. And he was like, you really should read this. It would be impactful. And I remember I'm driving a lot more than I have time to actually read. So I did the audio version. I didn't physically read it, but it was so good. I couldn't stop listening to it. And ultimately, for me, it was such an eye opener. It's like, if I don't have the right people, I can never grow this. And without scalability, you're just basically a person working. And the last yard sign I put in a yard is the last check I would get. And, even with property management, right? If I'm not there pushing things along, it's not getting done. It's not happening. So it's really hard to, even though I have a director of operations, she's been with me for 3 years, but if I don't set the tone of the business, it doesn't go, right? So I'm very much the cog that's running the whole thing. And even though I've read E-Myth, it's like, it's hard, right? To actually act on. Stop just working in your business. And what I mean is like going in the office, you are grinding out files, deals, calling people, but you're not working on, hey, where's this agent best placed? Who's best placed for this task? Really delegating tasks. And the hardest part
Yeah.
about that is finding the right people for the tasks.
Yeah, I think what the book is really talking about is treating your business as a product. So if you take Andrea out of Cough Tree Enterprises, how does how do things get done? Like who is dealing with new leads? Who is making sure that people are aware of the brand? Who is managing the properties? You know, looking at it from the outside, if I was to replicate Cough Tree Enterprises, what is this guide that I would follow to, what is the recipe that makes Cough Tree Enterprises? And that makes it a scalable business. Oh, maybe marketing could do with more people. And you can see that from looking at the business from the top down. But when you're working in it every day, it's really hard to see that. And the example they give in the book is about this lady who runs a pie shop. And she, from a young age, was taught to make amazing pies. And she ends up building her own pie shop and makes amazing pies. But she could never grow it. She was always the one making the pies, working the long hours to make sure they had the best product, and she could never take herself out of that to grow the business. And when I read that, I was like, oh my God, I'm the pie
Me.
woman. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a technical person. I've got a technical background. And so when starting Auto Enhance, I was the person that built the first product. And then I hired more people around me. James, who's our CTO, who's a rock star. He made sure the product actually worked properly. But by being technical, I was always involved in making sure we had the best product and always working on the product. And it distracted me a lot from making sure that we're handling customer service properly, making sure that we're fixing bugs, making sure that we're charging the right amount for the business. And my time was just expanding. I was like, in the last few months, as the business is growing, I'm getting more busy, working, way more than 10 hours a day, working at the weekend, just trying to catch up with everything that's happening. And then when I was moving house as well, I was falling behind even further. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I just had a mental breakdown, really, and came across the book and started reading it. I was like, wow, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. And then I spoke to you
Yeah.
about it, and you're like, I recommended this to you 7 months ago, or whatever. So for me, it's very
Came at
much
the
like,
right time.
sorry.
Yeah, the book came to you at the right time, right? Because for me, it came to me at a very early on stage, and you've inspired me. I'm going to go back and reread it because when I first
Yeah,
read it, I was hiring my first admin. I was hiring my first buyer's agent. Well, at this point, exciting news. I hopefully will have more to report. You know, now that I've hired a property manager that will be dedicated to the property management side, so that my current admin will be just on the real estate side. So that I'm trying to do. So it was so crazy that these parallels always happen with us, but you reiterate like this book is great, and you talk about your struggle right now, where like you're like I'm in it too deep. I'm not working on the bigger picture. You're supposed to be the visionary.
yeah,
I'm supposed to be the visionary, but when you're just grinding out all day, you're not. You're just beating
yeah,
your soul down. You can't lead a team, right? So
yeah,
at the time you were re-recommending E-Myth that I originally recommended to you, at that time I was in my mind like I have to have some segregation of these companies because I don't know which hat I'm ever wearing. It's like, am I property manager? Am I real estate? What is my one, person talking to me about? And we often are talking about a file, then a tenant. And I'm really excited about giving this the opportunity to have two separate people, two separate meetings. It's two separate businesses, like we've talked about. And I don't
yeah,
know, it's just hard to find the right people. And I think you probably have a lot of this. I have a hard time letting go of because I'm like, but the right person will
yeah,
do it better than you. Like I'm not like we're like jack of all trades, right? But the right software engineer can do it better than you. The right property manager has the time to do management better than me.
yeah.
It's
And that's something else in the book, right? It says when she hired someone who was technically capable, she was still doing the work, which, if anything, is reducing the amount of work for that person. And I've just hired two new people at the start of the year in AI, and they are incredible. And I was still doing a lot of the technical work, which was actually taking it away from them. And the difference is, it talks about the different stages of a business. And I don't know if you went through this as well, but when we started, you know, there was no established company doing AI photo editing for real estate. We were very much creating something out of nothing. And that required us to go fast and break things. But now
yeah,
we're at the maturity, like we're coming up to 4 years old now. We need to stop going fast and breaking things. We need to build something reliable and stable and scalable because we're working with huge customers now. And if the product isn't stable, that can affect a lot of customers and a lot of images. And when I'm working on tech, I move quickly and I break a lot of things. When my team work on it, they're so much more thorough than me. They do so much, a much better job. But there was never that clear date where Jamie stops working on product. And that's what we are establishing now and making sure that we have the right people in charge of it because we have such a capable team. We just weren't leveraging them as much as we could. So, and this is all very fresh to me as well. I might be coming back in a month and saying, oh, it was a terrible experience and we've gone back on ourselves, but hopefully not. This is a process and it makes total sense from reading the book that this is the way you have to go if you want to build a scalable business, and be the best.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
Tuesday this week is the first day for our new property manager. So in a month, when we come back, you'll know if she's full time and killing it. I'll know if you made a mistake with your working on product. But I
Yeah.
think it's important because it's almost also, it's like the rat race, right? Like when you get so in depth, in deep, or in depth, whatever you want to say,
Depth, in
with your
depth.
business that you don't, you're in the forest, right? You know, people say you can't see the forest for the trees. It's kind of like that because you're in it and you're just running and you're just cranking out work and you can't grow the business that way. You really
Yeah.
can't. You
Yeah. It's
have to be
given,
able
like,
back.
reading that book, it was like my head exploded. I was at my lowest point when all of this was happening, and then I started reading it, and I was like, wow, it just gave me a completely new perspective on
Yeah.
how to do things. And maybe I won't follow it to the T, but just having that guidance and having someone just document the struggles that this person had that are so similar to what I was at was incredible. So I'm hoping I'll be able to learn a lot from it. And maybe this is just a start of working on your business rather than being in your business. And when we talk next month, we can talk a bit more about how we've
The
evolved
next,
in the last month, exactly
yeah.
from rereading this book, from me reading it the first time and making the most of it. I think it'll
Yeah.
be really
Because
interesting.
so between now and then you are out of product development, right?
It's a transition. Like, I
Yeah.
have reduced my input on the product by about 90% this week. And a lot of it
Yeah.
is handing over to my CTO, who is more capable than me, but working on structure with him to work out how do we fix bugs? How do we build the new version of Auto Enhance? And how do we make that repetitive process so we are making a better product all the time? So it's very much early days. My COO has been off on holiday, so today is the first day that we're checking in with him and trying to get some structure. But he is the perfect guy to make sure that you are doing everything you said you are doing. There is no
I love it.
bullshit. He's Dutch, and there is no bullshit with him. If you say you'll do something and you don't do it to the level, he will call you out on it. So he is. This is what I say. Like, we have the perfect people. We just need to get them to really grab hold of this and make it happen. It's a process. Yeah.
And
But
so
yeah, was
between
that
now
we
and then,
wrapped up with the end?
yes, we are because I've got team meeting and then I've got to go get my boot off.
Boot up. Wow.
Excited. Next month we
You're a
won't
space
have a boot
booster.
on.
You'll be walking. You'll be on your treadmill in your office next time. This is
Yes,
perfect.
please. I'm so ready for it. So ready.
Okay. No, I think that was good. I think there's a lot of interesting topics there, talking about the differences between
Yeah.
UK and US real estate. I guess if anyone's got any questions, put it in the video. We'll maybe talk about that next week. But continuing on about working on our businesses, I think that's hopefully something people find interesting.
And we might come back next month and be like, nothing changed. I mean, it's just such a, it's hard to let go. But I think, yeah, if you have questions about Coachella or questions about the different commission structures or mortgage structures or, the book, any questions about the book, we'll drop the book below. Read the book before, you watch the next one and see, and let us know
Yeah,
if it impacts you because it has a profound effect on any business owner, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, I highly recommend it now.
Love it.
Fantastic. All
Well,
right. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Cheers.
see ya.